In this video, you're going to learn how to use vulnerability to become a master persuader and a master influencer. Over the years, I've studied Neuro Linguistic Programming to become a better, more influential persuader, and I've been in the trenches. I've done sales. I've sold life insurance for years. So I've tested out a lot of methods and I found what really works. And what I'm going to teach in this video, I've never taught before and I've never seen taught before. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Damon Cart from Life Mastery Gym, bringing you cutting-edge content to help you master your life. So if that sounds good, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. I'm just taking it easy here for a little while on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. I'm here at the North Shore, and this video is going to be about how to become a better persuader. And why is that even important? So I'm going to get into some of the more detailed explanations of what you can do to become a better persuader and influencer, and even master persuasion and influence. But let's talk first about why would you even want that to begin with? Why do you want to become a better persuader and influencer? Well, overall, the best communicators are the most successful people. And put another way, one commonality among all successful people is that they are great communicators. Now that can mean a lot of things. You can be a great communicator because you're very clear in your communication, you're very articulate, or you're very direct in your message. Another piece of communication that is so important is being able to persuade and influence. Now some people think of this, or they equate persuasion and influence with deception. They think of the sleazy used car salesperson who has to say things that aren't true, or say things that are half-truths in order to persuade you to do something. And that's not really what I'm talking about here. I think when you persuade that way, which you can do, you can lie and you can cheat and you can steal and all those things, but it's not a long-term game. You might in the short-term gain what you want if you deceive people, but it's not a long game there. You're not going to create what it is you want long-term. When you persuade and you influence, the overall goal should be to create stronger connections and greater and better relationships, even when it's something small, even when you're persuading someone to do something and you may never see this person again, and it may just be something very temporary. Always do it with the mindset and the mode of you're wanting to strengthen connections with people and strengthen relationships with people. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, studies show that people who have more connections, more social connections, and stronger relationships not only are much happier and more fulfilled in their lives, they also have more success in their life and they live longer. So you want to think of it always as you're building a relationship, you're building a network, even if it's the small stuff, even if it's somebody at an airport who's helping you out. You always want to persuade with the intent to build a stronger connection and relationship. Now, you may never see the person again, but that's okay. Just train yourself to always be thinking in those terms when you're persuading and influencing. Don't sell yourself short and just do something very temporary, or think of it as just very temporary, like I just want to get what I want and then that's it and I want to move on. Now, what this video is going to be about is something I've not taught ever before. I've done several videos on persuasion. If you want to find more of these videos, I'll link them to this video. But what brought this up is because I broke my foot. It's in a boot right now, which is not the best time to go to Hawaii when you have an injured foot. But I broke my foot doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And what I've noticed is that this is a vulnerability, and I'm wearing it. So we spend a lot of time protecting our vulnerabilities. So what if you could use vulnerability to persuade people, to influence people? I've never seen this taught anywhere else before. Like I said, I've never taught it before. So we're going to get into this, how to use vulnerability to persuade and influence. So my observations initially, when I started walking around on my knee scooter, I have a little knee scooter, and it's obvious I'm injured and people see it. And I noticed there were three types of people. The majority of people were the people who saw me and said, can I help you somehow? Can I carry your groceries? Can I, in the airport I got better seats on the airplane. When I got into the airplane, people were trying to help me out the best they could. Anywhere I go, there are people who are trying to help me out. And this really warms my heart because it gives me greater faith in humanity. That in general, most people are good people and they just want to help. Now, there's the second type of person. And that's the person who just is oblivious to this. Their awareness is only on themselves, and if I'm in a grocery store, they see nothing wrong with pulling their shopping cart right in front of me so that I have to maneuver around it, which is more difficult than just me walking around it if I had 2 good feet. So they're just oblivious. They're not mean. They're not trying to do anything bad. They're not trying to take advantage of me. They're just not paying attention. And so this isn't helping them any. It's certainly not helping me any. But in the long run, if their awareness is just not open to seeing someone who's injured and actually doing things that get in their way or make it harder for them, that's not going to help in their persuading and influencing. If they don't have that awareness when they're wanting to persuade and influence, they can't tell what responses the other person is having. And so if they can't tell what the person's responses from what they're saying and what they're doing, they're not going to be able to adjust their communication to persuade and influence. Now then there was a third type of person. The third type of person is they see my vulnerability and they see that as an opportunity to advance themselves. Now this isn't the easiest thing to do just from someone who's injured, but what I've seen is one of the things that happened, and I was getting on the airplane and it was taking me a bit longer to roll with my scooter to get onto the airplane. And so the result was some people wanted to help me, some people were oblivious to it, and some people saw this as an opportunity to jump in front of me. Okay, so the people jumping in front of me, this was the rarest kind of person, but these people do exist. What they're basically doing is they see my vulnerability and they see that as an opportunity to somehow take advantage of me. Now, that's just kind of who they are. It wasn't anything to do with me in particular, but these types of people will see vulnerability in others and see that as a way that they can take advantage of them, as a way that they can take something from that person. They see the vulnerability as weakness and then they go for it. Now, what I have done over the years is lots of NLP training, Neuro Linguistic Programming training, and what you train yourself to do in NLP is what they call sensory acuity and calibration. And that is, you put a lot of attention on the other person and you see and hear things that most people don't see and hear. Because when most people are in a conversation, I'm guilty of this, you're guilty of this, everyone's guilty of this. When you're in a conversation, a lot of times you're not paying much attention to what the other person is saying. You're paying enough attention to know what it is they're saying so that you can respond to it. But what a lot of people are doing is they're only thinking about what they want to say. I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm listening and I'm going, but what I'm really thinking about is what do I want to say next? What is on my mind? What's important to me? In NLP, what we do in order to gain rapport rapidly and also to eventually what we call pace and lead the person, persuade them and influence them, is to pay lots of attention to them. And I don't mean not just what they're saying, but we pay attention to the physiology. We pay attention to eye movement. We pay attention to the skin tone, the changes in the color of the skin tone. That lets us know that the person's changing state. So when you're doing this, we call this also the nonverbals. When we're taking in the nonverbals, more than just the language, this is very powerful communication that most people miss. Robert Greene writes about this in Mastery, I believe, and also in The Laws of Human Nature. And he is not someone who's, I think, trained in NLP. He knows about NLP, he mentions it in his books. But he has come to the same conclusions that the nonverbals are more powerful than the verbal communication because there's a lot more information that's coming from the nonverbals and most people aren't paying attention to it. So when I injured my foot and my attention and awareness is trained on seeing the nonverbal communication, I'm paying a lot of attention to how people are responding to my vulnerability, which is I'm injured and I can't walk very well. So that's where I started to notice these 3 types of people. And that's when I started to notice that I could actually leverage this vulnerability to influence others to get what I want. And so in an airport, I can purposefully walk in front of someone who is aware. I can see that they're paying more attention to their external, what's going on around them than just themselves. And I can almost count on that person coming up to me and asking me if I need help, especially if I look like I need help, like I'm struggling with my bags or something like that. So, like I said, in the airport, this was very useful. I was at a luau last night, and I got bumped to the front of the line. So there are ways that you can use this vulnerability. You can show this vulnerability to people, and they will want to do things for you. Now, how would you do this if you're not injured? That's probably what you're wondering. You're like, oh, gee, Damon, are you saying I have to go get an injury? No, you don't. This works in every other way. Let's start with the most basic. Anytime you ask somebody for something, well, let's back up. Why don't you ask for what you want more? Because most of us don't. Most of us are afraid to ask for what we want. Why is that? Is it because we're afraid that we're going to be told no? Yes, but there's more to it than that. The reason why we don't want to ask is because just asking something from someone actually makes us feel vulnerable, okay? Why is that? Because if I'm asking you for something, what I'm communicating to you is I'm lacking something and you have the power to give it to me. So that puts me in a vulnerable position. But what if I'm not so attached to the outcome? If I'm not so attached to the outcome, then my vulnerability becomes empowerment. My vulnerability becomes a strength because I'm willing to admit that I'm vulnerable, but I'm not desperate and I'm not begging you. Now, when people go to that side of the spectrum, when they start being desperate and they start begging, this repels people. This is not persuasive. It can give you what you want if you're being desperate and begging, but it's only because they want you to go away. And remember, what I said is you want to be building stronger connections and stronger relationships. So if you're in desperation mode every time you want something, and you're going to people and they can feel that you want something from them, and you'll pull out anything that you can do to influence them to give it to you, like begging and pleading, they're going to see you as weak, they're going to see you as pathetic, and they're going to just want you to go away. So sometimes, just to shut you up and get rid of you, they will give you what you want, but you're not building a connection, you're not building a relationship. So this is not the way that you want to go. And also, so that when you're vulnerable in that way, you really are becoming weak. You're basically telling that person that you have no resources on your own, that you're so attached to the outcome, and that you're just weak because they have what you want and you're at their mercy. And that's not where you want to be with your vulnerability. So I'll use another example here. When men are on a date with a woman, if they can communicate vulnerability to the woman without it seeming like they're weak, which would be being desperate and begging, this communicates to the woman that you're not afraid to be vulnerable in front of her, which means you are strong, not weak. So if you're communicating some sort of emotion, if you tell the woman that you saw a movie and it moved you to tears, you're expressing vulnerability, but the fact that you're telling her that and you're not afraid to tell her that expresses strength as well. So this can become very, very attractive. Now, the same thing can happen in sales. Most salespeople, one of the reasons why they fail at getting the sale is because they never ask for it. I know it sounds so silly, but it's so true. A salesperson is often afraid to ask for the sale because they're afraid of the rejection, and they're also they feel like if they're having to ask for it, and then the person who they're selling is not saying, hey, I want to buy that, then they're going down on the level. They're putting the customer as the superior to them, and they've lost control. But it's not true. If they could overcome that fear of being vulnerable and just asking for the sale, they would get that sale so many more times. I've experienced it. I've seen it with other salespeople. They're afraid to ask for that sale. They don't get it. When they ask for it, you will get it so many more times. Just being bold enough to ask for what it is that you want without begging, without being desperate, this will get you what you want so much more. Now, it's not going to work every single time. You're going to have to maybe do other things, other types of persuading, and I'll do more videos on other ways that you can persuade, other things that you can do to be persuasive and influential. But start testing this, start playing around with this, allowing people to see you vulnerable, or check in with yourself and say, okay, what are my vulnerabilities? What am I afraid to let people see about me? What am I afraid that somebody will see about me that I'm always trying to cover up and that I'm always trying to hide? And then really start to explore that and ask yourself, okay, well, you could even write it down, make a list of these vulnerabilities, and then step back and ask yourself and say, what if somebody saw this about me? What if they saw that I am self-conscious about my appearance? What if I was okay with somebody knowing that about me? And I could put that out there, and not in a way that's shame and blame and guilt and put my head down because I'm afraid, oh, they discovered it, they found out my weakness, but more like, oh yeah, this is just something that's always bothered me. I've always been a little self-conscious about my appearance. Just putting that out there communicates that strength and that power. You're allowing people to see you vulnerable. Or what if there's an emotional situation? Or what if there's a movie and you're on a date with a woman and you're watching a movie and there's a sad part of it and you shed a tear? You know, you're not bawling your eyes out. You're not like you can't handle watching the movie, but you allow some emotion to come out, and then you're okay afterward. You're not like, you haven't lost your center. You're still strong. You're walking out of the theater and with your head up high and you're still fine. When people see that, that's pretty amazing. That's amazingly strong for you to allow people to see you that way. And like I said, the same thing goes for sales. When you can allow the salesperson, or you can communicate to the salesperson something vulnerable about you, that tells that person that not only are you strong, but you are trustworthy. You're willing to let that person in on something that most people would hide. That is extremely powerful. It's extremely persuasive. And if you haven't noticed already, trust and rapport is imperative. You must have trust and rapport when you're going to sell something. That has to come first. And so communicating some vulnerability, allowing somebody to see you vulnerable, will build trust and build that rapport, and they're more likely to then do what you ask them to do. Remember, you have to ask. You know, if you don't ask for what you want, there's no chance of you getting it. You don't get what you don't ask for. And when you think about asking for something and you feel resistance towards that, more than likely that is your vulnerability. That's that part of you that's coming up and saying, I can't allow this person to be above me, and let them know that they have something that I want. Well, step back from that and say, okay, well, that is my vulnerability. Why don't I just put it out there and be detached from the outcome? If the person doesn't give you what you want and they say no, you just, okay, that's okay, you're fine. And that, oftentimes I've done that, and the person came back and gave it to me because they could see that I was going to be fine either way. I wasn't begging them. I wasn't trying to take something from them. I wasn't looking pathetic and weak. I accepted their answer. And sometimes that alone will change it. And sometimes you just accept that answer. You accept the no at first. It doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you have to accept the no for good. It's not a lockdown, shutdown thing. And like I said, I'll do more videos on how to overcome objections and how to overcome no's. But you got to start with accepting the person saying no. That's the first step to overcoming an objection, accepting their answer. If you resist their answer, if you push back, they're just going to push back harder. Okay, that's another video, like I said, but go to that vulnerability. Maybe even list out your vulnerabilities. What are you most afraid of people seeing about you? What are you most afraid about people knowing about you? And then go one by one and just ask yourself, well, what if people did know this? How bad would that really be? Most of the time, it's not nearly as bad as you think it would be. And so when you allow that to show, you're going to seem much stronger. You're going to seem, that confidence that will come from that, people are going to want to be near that. That's attractive. And then, like I said, the trust will follow, and then people are going to want to do what you want them to do. And a lot of times they'll expose a vulnerability of themselves because of the law of reciprocity. You give something, you share something, they're going to want to share something too. And when that happens, now you're building a bond. Now you're building that connection that I was talking about. Now you're building a relationship. And the more you build these connections and relationships, the easier your job will become as a persuader and as an influencer. So you constantly want to be building these connections and relationships, which will turn into a network, and it'll almost be like there's a family. So you don't have to go through this whole process all over again with these people. They just like you, trust you, and so when you ask them for something, they're likely to do it, or they're likely to refer other people to you because they like and trust you. So your job as a persuader becomes so much easier when you're building those connections. You don't have to work as hard. But if you're always thinking short term, and you're always just building that initial connection, I want to get what I want, and then I want to run out of here, you're going to be working way too hard. You're going to have to rebuild the whole thing every single time you're persuading someone, and it's just, might as well make life a lot easier, a lot more efficient, and you will build that influence over time, and things will just get easier. It'll become like a snowball effect. You'll have that momentum, and you'll just get to be known as a very persuasive and influential person, and that usually attracts people to you. So again, it just makes things so much easier to persuade and influence. Check out my website, lifemasterygym.com. There you will find some free training. Also, you can find me on Facebook. Like and follow me there on Facebook. And if you like this video, please click like right down here. And remember, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that now and click the bell so that you can be notified when these videos come out. Take care. and I'm having, yeah, what am I talking about? So I'm just taking a